I just got done reading the 95 Theses and just watching a lot of stuff about Martin Luther and his writings and just how he developed and got to the point where he did having a schism from the Catholic Church and having the Protestant Reformation happen, of course. And I wrote some stuff down. It starts with about the 95 Theses, which I guess is where a lot of people point to the Reformation starting. So, I wrote some stuff down about that. So, I'm just gonna go ahead and get into this. The truth about Martin Luther. Let's go. First, I wrote down he agrees with the Catholic view of you can't be certain of your salvation. And 95 Theses are mostly about indulgences, which Catholics they agree on. That's Catholic doctrine, I believe. You can't be certain of your salvation. In fact, that's dogma, I believe. Luther didn't deny the papacy and said papal remission and blessing are by no means to be disregarded. So he agrees with us on the state of the seat of St. Peter, basically. He agrees with the authority that Christ gave to Peter and that is passed on to future popes. And he agrees with the Catholic position that the seat still has authority even if we have some bad popes, which Catholics agree we do have some bad popes. And you would see, if you really read Luther, which I'm going to tell you to do at the end of this video, how much he agrees with the Catholic Church and disagrees with the modern Protestant movement. Even though I don't agree with Luther on a lot of stuff, it was kind of mind-boggling to see how much Catholic doctrine he still agreed with, even after having a schism. Even after the indulgences were completely, deemed and condemned terrible by the Pope. So, let's get more into it. I also found how he didn't even fully condemn indulgences, saying they must be preached with caution. So, not even fully condemning the preaching of them, just saying they should be preached with caution. He said they are useful only if Christians don't put their trust in them, which Catholics agree on, and don't lose their fear of God because of them, which Catholics agree on. Now, he does say it is evil to put indulgences over the gospel, which Catholics agree on, again. However, instead of bringing it up for the church to, disband that teaching and condemn it, he decided to schism away and do his own thing. Which, we already shown how he agreed with the authority of the Pope and the papacy. And we're going to get into later how this wasn't out of truth or wanting to follow God, but his pride got in the way of him here. His pride destroyed him. And he was so prideful that just because the Catholic Church didn't agree with him on one thing, he decided they're not true, so I have to schism away. He had a serious pride problem, guys, and we're going to get into that later. It's also important to note, Luther believed in the saints, purgatory. He even confessed in Thesis 60 and 61 that the Catholic Church has the keys to heaven, and the Pope, like Catholics believe, in some circumstances can speak infallibly. He even confesses that the Pope justly thunders to the sale of indulgences then. Literally in line 75, he says, Mother of God, guys. He's talking about Mary. The Protestant view saying, no, it's just the earthly mother of Jesus, which first of all is Nestorianism. People don't even know basic theology, basic heresies that were condemned in Vatican I. Luther, the father of Protestantism, agrees that Mary is the mother of God. And since he believes this, he probably believes that she's sinless too. He agrees with Catholics on mortal and venial sins. And again, we admit that there have been bad popes. Luther agrees. The Catholic Church doesn't think every single pope, whenever they talk, is infallible. That is, completely wrong. The Pope is infallible in some circumstances, for example, in Vatican I. But Luther affirms the seat of St. Peter. Catholics do as well, guys. He's affirming the authority that the Pope has, but saying not everything he says is infallible, which Catholics agree on. The truth is, when you read Luther, first of all, a lot of mainstream modern Protestant views just don't line up with him. But secondly, you just see how prideful he was. And, he thought he understood theology better than Aquinas. He thought he was a better philosopher than Aristotle, which just, I challenge you guys, genuinely, to read Luther's writings and just watch videos on like his like life or something, because you see the progression of him actually having a passion and will and like wanting to follow God, but his pride just getting in the way, and ultimately he left the church, he left the truth because the church didn't agree with him, which isn't the church's problem, that's a him problem. You will be conflicted with a man who really wants to follow Jesus, like I said, but also someone very prickly about anyone disagreeing with him, like on the tiniest things, which sounds like someone that would basically schism just because the church didn't agree with him, doesn't it? It sounds like that, doesn't it? He's uncharitable, and the more he writes and gets recognition, the worse he gets. When we look at Luther, we don't find someone growing in holiness. Instead, we find someone who has a desire to serve God, but their pride gets in the way of them growing. And that's the truth about Protestants today. To be honest, like I see a lot of Protestants that I talk to, that I debate with, genuinely not wanting to come to Catholicism just because of their pride. And they search for evidence to fit their own views instead of searching for every single truth. So, I very much, I want you guys to read Luther and see if this is the man you really trust. Because at the end of the day, if you're a Protestant, you're trusting that Martin Luther was right and that the Catholic Church was wrong. You are. Your foundation is Martin Luther. The difference between Catholics and Protestants is the Catholic Church's foundation is Jesus. Protestants' foundation is Martin Luther. God bless, guys. Submit to Rome, and just please research. Research for yourself, please. That's what I did, and I came to Catholicism. I'm sure you guys, rational, reasonable people, will do the same.